It says Jillian Cheek has started recording. It's recording.
Perfect. Okay. Well, there's my number one, my first audience member, and then I have 3 on the screen. And here we go. When I was 18, I worked 2 jobs and attended school full time. And although I kept up the charade for several months, it resulted in a life-changing event, an avoidable car accident. That taught me an important lesson. I had taken on too much and learned that sometimes it is all right to say no and take on less when it means prioritizing my health and mental well-being. I decided to stick around and live with my grandparents after high school and attend community college down the street. Instead of going away to college like I had originally planned, I searched for a job all summer after high school graduation and finally found one at a beauty school downtown. I was to be a receptionist, and they were flexible with my school schedule. I started school, and things seemed to be going well. Neither of my parents were college graduates, and were excited I was going to school, but were a little concerned about how I was going to pay for it. My dad had worked at UPS for 20 years and knew that the company had a tuition incentive program, which we both thought was a great idea for me. I worked part-time loading trailers and with the hopes of having some of my tuition paid for. I applied and got the job, and shifts were about 5 or 6 hours in length. At this point, my schedule was absolutely jam-packed. I would go to my night shift at about 11 p.m. each night, work until about 4 a.m. in the morning, go home to shower and sleep for a few hours, wake up and go to my day job at 10 or 11, work there until 8 or 9, and then get up and do it all over again. I alternated days with my day job and classes, but still had to squeeze in time to manage the homework required by my 4 classes. I was quickly miserable, but struggled through it with the hopes that my struggles would one day be worth it. I was always tired and rarely got enough sleep. There was always something more pressing to do, a chapter to read, a paper to write, or chores to do. I didn't realize my lack of sleep was affecting my school performance, my family and social life, and basic everyday tasks like driving. Sometimes on my way home from work, I would doze off at a stoplight or 2. The drive home was only 15 minutes, but it felt like twice as long because I was so tired. One March early morning, while I was on my way home from my night shift, I dozed off while I was driving and hit a telephone pole by an elementary school. I awoke disorientated and confused and scared. I managed to locate my cell phone that had fallen on the floor and dialed 911. Police and an ambulance were on scene within minutes. I felt embarrassed and ashamed of the mistake I had made and absolutely horrified that I had made it. The fact that I had crashed so near a school added to the brevity of my situation. I was so fortunate and grateful that it was so early in the morning and no one was around. I couldn't help but think of what would have happened if there had been. Someone besides me could have been seriously injured. I was taken to the hospital where I was checked out, and fortunately, because I was asleep and relaxed upon impact, very minimal damage had been done to my back and neck. I suffered some minor but chronic neck and back pain for about a year after the accident that prevented me from returning to my physically demanding job of loading trailers at UPS. But I learned to value one of the most basic human needs, sleep. I now know how important sleep is and what can happen when one does not get enough. I also know the value of saying no and cutting back on commitments, even when it is difficult. Quitting my job wasn't easy. I liked my coworkers and even kind of liked the job. Through that experience, I learned that nothing is worth risking my physical and mental well-being for, and that it is all right to say no. I can't figure out how to turn the recording off.
Golf clap.
Stop recording.